Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, or the Theme Park Evangelist. So, before I get into tonight's YouTube video, I wanted to tell you guys a huge announcement that I heard today at work. Oh my word, my water's getting warm. Let's do something about that. So, ignore me while I'm doing this. So, while I was working at the Ark Encounter today, I'm not going to tell you guys my personal opinion or anything like that because the last thing I want to do is start a argument on my YouTube video. So we're just going to stick with this. Basically, the Supreme Court made a decision today, this morning to be more specific, to go ahead and make abortion illegal across the country. Basically, people can't just go get an abortion just because they want to. Now it has to be up to the state, so it's no longer a country decision or a government decision, it's now a state decision. So at this point, when the state feels like it should be legal, then the state will make it legal. And if the state doesn't want to be legal, then they'll make it illegal. Which means that that person, if they want an abortion so badly, they have to go to another state. Well, that being said, why am I putting it over there? Well, with that being said, Disney got upset too. And they basically decided that they're going to make this big announcement. Well, any cast members that work for them can basically decide if they want to get an abortion or not. And if they do want to get an abortion, Disney will literally pay for their travel expenses. So if you're one of those Disney cast members that still wants to work for Disney despite, everything that they stand for, and you want to go get an abortion, not saying that I want you to or not saying that I don't want you to, then consider your next vacation fully paid by the Walt Disney World Company, the TWDC. Anyway, give me 1 second. Let me get back to you guys. Sorry about that. So before I get started on my actual discussion, oh, by the way, I decided to wear my ARC t-shirt to support the fact that, such a amazing miracle happened today. But that's the most opinion you're going to get out of me. And I honestly respect the fact that not everybody that watches my YouTube videos is either a Christian or also agrees with everything that I talk about. But, I always welcome everybody who wants to come watch my YouTube videos. And there are people who know about my YouTube channel, but that doesn't mean that I expect everybody to watch my YouTube channel. So, it is what it is. I'm not mentioning names. I'm just going to say there are people, like my brother, for example, who know about my YouTube channel, just choose not to watch it. It is what it is. Not really that offended, to be honest. But, yeah. Okay. As I said, TJ and I are back on neutral grounds. And the other reason why I'm wearing my Arcade t-shirt today is because I wanted to show you guys a picture that I posted on my Facebook page. I took this of the brand new character carousel that we're getting by the end of next month. It's just going to take me a second to find it. Ah, there it is. So it's already reached 12 people in just 5 hours. So there it is. If you can't see it that well. So let's go ahead and click on that. Zoom in. There you go. It's a little better. So the construction is coming along pretty well. And yes, it will be open by the end of next month, the end of July. So that'll be exciting, and that will be free, part of your admission. And I'm not blowing smoke and not making that information up. I actually got that from their Facebook, and I also got that from their internet as well. So that's where I got that information. So that'll be exciting when that does open. And it's going to be a year-round carousel, so it'll be interesting when that does open. But let's talk about Disney, and I'm not going to be bashing down Disney or anything. I know AIG does it all the time, but they have their reasons, and I'm not going to go there, and I can't really talk about that much while I'm still working for AIG, so let's just not even go there. So in the meantime, I'm going to talk to you guys about what an average day at Walt Disney World looks like. It's interesting how I chose to talk about Disney today, the day that, the whole Roe v. Wade thing happened. So, did I plan it this way? No. Did I know about the Roe v. Wade thing happening today? No, I actually did not. I actually meant to talk about this last night, but I was having a really bad day yesterday. And this kind of worked out because I like to do my YouTube videos like every other day. So that's why it's not kind of all together. And I was in a much better mood today anyway. And I like being in a good mood when I'm doing my YouTube videos. And I'm honestly surprised I am staying up this late because, what is it? It's like 11:13. I gotta be at work and I gotta leave for work in a little over 8 hours, but I gotta be up in about 7 hours. So, yeah, I am interesting. And I'm working a 12-hour day. But at least I get to sleep in on Sunday, and, Lord willing, maybe Katie will have someone pick up her shift on Sunday. As of right now, she only has one person that could possibly pick up her shift, and that way she and I could still spend time together on Sunday or Monday, because she's off Monday, I'm off tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, wow. Tomorrow I'm working the 12-hour day. Sunday is the only day I'm off. And it's my first day off in 13 days, so I definitely want to make it worth my while. And then I'm back to work on Monday, and I'm working Monday through Friday, and then I'm finally off for an entire weekend. And as much as I want to help somebody out, unless I know it's somebody that's doing me a favor right now, I'm probably going to have to just say no. It's not that I don't want to help somebody out, or I want the extra hours. Of course, I always want the extra hours. Of course, I always want 6 days. But I already made a promise to Caitlin that we were going to go to Soak City next Saturday versus tomorrow, because of the fact that John, her husband, was like, "No, I can't let Caitlin go to Soak City tomorrow. I'm sorry." And I intentionally rescheduled the entire thing based on what her husband said, and I'm not going to cause problems in their marriage. So that's how that all happened. That was before Katie and I started spending time together. So we're talking like weeks ago. So that's how the whole Soak City thing got rescheduled to next Saturday. And then I'm going over to their place afterwards for a barbecue, so that'll be exciting. And then the next day is the whole Coney Island thing. And I somehow got that day off too. But after that, I'm going to be working all weekend long again, every single weekend. As honestly, I don't usually have anything going on the weekends. If you guys know me well, I'll just tell you right now, I really don't have much of a social life. I really just work a lot. I mean, yeah, I come home from work and I'll relax a little bit. I'll work on my YouTube channel here and there. Holidays aren't really that big of a deal. A lot of people are taking their vacations right now this summer. I usually take my vacations in February, March. I also like to take the odd vacation in September. My other favorite time of the year to take a vacation is November, and then I just happen to be taking vacations around Christmas time, which is weird, but I usually don't. I prefer my two favorite times of the year to take vacations are February, March, and then November. That's it. That's the only two times of the year I usually like to take a vacation. And then after that, I really don't take a lot of vacations. But this year, I'm taking a vacation in September, I'm taking a vacation in November, and I'm taking a vacation in December, and then I'm going on another vacation in January. So that's four almost back to back. So that's another reason why I don't really care if I don't really take any vacations this summer, because I'm taking all these vacations so close to each other all around the cool months. I don't like traveling when it's hot. That's just me. If I were to travel anywhere when it's hot, I want to go somewhere where it's colder. I am not a huge fan of the heat. I like the cold. I don't know how many people actually like the cold, but I do. But, So, I grew up going to Walt Disney World my whole entire life. I was practically a month old or so when I first started going to Epcot. The second oldest Walt Disney Park, if not tied for the oldest. Because Magic Kingdom and Epcot, well, actually, I should say it is the second oldest. My apologies. So, Magic Kingdom opened to the public on October 1st, 1971, and then Epcot opened to the public on October 1st, 1982. Same exact day, just different year. 11 years later. And it's just really interesting, because when I first went to Epcot, actually, the reason why I know it was only a month old, I have a picture of me in a diaper on Living at the Land. It probably was my very first Disney ride. I would not be surprised. But honestly, if I were to ask anybody what was the very first Disney park I ever went to as a baby, nobody would ever guess Epcot. Strange, right? Honestly, I've been around long enough that I can tell you right now, I used to ride in the front of the monorail. Most people did not grow up living in Central Florida and did not have that luxury. Thankfully, I did, and I know exactly what it's like. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was, a very fun experience. I'm, really glad that I got a chance to do that when I was a baby, and, well, not just a baby, as a child too, and as a kid. But as far as like what was an average day at Walt Disney World look like, well, I could sit there and tell you what an average day would look like for me at Walt Disney World as a child, as a teenager, as a kid. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what it was like for me as an adult. Because that's honestly the best way you guys are going to learn about my habits. Otherwise, you're going to be like, huh? And that way, it's something that everybody can relate to better, too, including Generation Z's, for example. So, when I go to Magic Kingdom, for example, these days, that is, I prefer taking the monorail in, and I prefer taking the monorail out. Sometimes I like to switch it up. If the monorail looks like it's going to be really backed up, I'll go take the ferry boat in. It's fun to do it that way too. If I take someone for the very first time to the Magic Kingdom, I will take the ferry boat in because it's actually the best way to fully experience going into the Magic Kingdom. It's really neat how they do it. It's a cool illusion, so to speak. And then I get to Main Street USA, and sometimes I like to stop at Starbucks right away and go get a drink. And usually when I go to Magic Kingdom by myself, or if I go with friends that go all the time, we'll go right over to Tomorrowland, and we'll go straight to Space Mountain. We'll go hit up that, and then we'll go ride the People Mover. We'll go ride Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. We'll also consider riding Tomorrowland Speedway if it doesn't have a long wait. Sometimes I go watch the Carousel of Progress. Really good show, by the way. And then we want to go over to Fantasyland. If Seven Dwarfs Mine Train has a long wait, we won't worry about that. Excuse me. We walk right past the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And I usually bypass a lot of Fantasyland. That's just me. I personally am not a huge fan of Fantasyland. I usually will spend more time at Fantasyland based on who I'm with. If I'm with someone that absolutely loves that kind of stuff, yeah, of course I'm going to spend more time in there. But I personally don't like that kind of stuff. That's just me. I do like the 3D show over in Magic Kingdom, Mickey's Fellheart Magic. Such a great show. I will make it a few exceptions while I'm over at the Magic Kingdom. So I do enjoy riding the Peter Pan's Flight. It's a really good ride. Small World, I'll break down every now and then. I'll go ride that. Not once again, not a huge fan. A must do for me every time I go to the Magic Kingdom. I like to go around the Magic Kingdom in a counterclockwise kind of thing. So pretending that I'm starting at, let's just say here I am, and here's Cinderella's castle, and here I am. I go this way around the park instead of this way around the park, if that makes any sense. So then I go over to Haunted Mansion. So right after I get done with Peter Pan or Small World, if I feel like it, I'll just go ahead and go underneath the bridge, and I'll take an immediate right. And there's Memento Mori, the Haunted Mansion gift shop, and I'll go right over to Haunted Mansion. I usually will wait for that no matter what. And I always like to watch Big Thunder Mountain. It's one of my absolute favorite rides at Disney, at least at the Magic Kingdom. I mean, preferably Splash Mountain all the way. That's my favorite Disney ride of all time. Just so you guys know. Always has been, always will be. And I'll go ride Haunted Mansion. I know it's not really a biblical ride, but I grew up with the ride, and I absolutely love the line. I love the ride. I saw a backstage tour for a number of years ago. You can actually look that up on my YouTube channel. I did a secrets behind the Haunted Mansion. I believe I filmed that in the old IHOP parking lot of Lake Wales, Florida. If you ever want to learn more about the Haunted Mansion, I exposed all their secrets online, and I'm surprised I never got fired for it, which is really weird. I am very risky. And then I usually will go there's this bridge that basically borders the water where the Liberty Square riverboat goes, and I find that the traffic, the foot traffic, is a lot lighter going that way, and that will take you over to Splash Mountain. And I tend to take that, and it's so much easier than taking the main path along, especially since the Festival of Fantasy Parade, that's been back for a while now, goes that direction. I mean, yeah, as long as you avoid that area around 3 p.m., you're good. But then again, there's just so many people that walk through there, especially on a very busy day like this time of the year. You don't want to walk that way. So I tend to take the quieter path, and then I go over to Splash Mountain right away. And yeah, sometimes the Splash Mountain's too busy. I might go ride Big Thunder Mountain first, and then I'll go over to Splash Mountain, or I'll do it the other way around. And then I'll finally go over to Adventureland, and I'll go ride Pirates of the Caribbean really fast. Another one of my absolute favorite rides. Jungle Cruise I've been skipping lately. The ride's kind of lame to me anyway. I mean, it's a cool ride, but it's just kind of lame, dorky, weird. The Enchanted Tiki Room, I kind of liked it better when it was under new management, but that's just me. Unfortunately, the under new management caught on fire a number of years ago, and they lost everything to it, so they brought back the original from 1971, and it's been back ever since. Magic Carpets of Aladdin, another ride I'm just kind of like, eh. Notice I did not even talk about Storybook Circus. Hate that area with a passion. Worst idea they've ever come up with. I liked Mickey's Toontown Fair, always will, always have. So I avoid Storybook Circus with a passion as well. I mean, if I take someone there for the first time, I will take them in there. But personally, I hate it, so that's why I stay away from it. Also, while I'm Adventureland, I have had a Dole Whip before, not from Adventureland actually, but you can get them from there. And I had it over at the Polynesian Resort because they do sell them over there, and you can get your Disney cast member discount over there. By the way, because that's how I got mine. And once again, that was a few years ago or so. We're just saying like 4 or so years ago, 4 or 5, I should say. By that point, I usually have seen everything. As far as how do I get back to the main entrance, I usually take the pathway along the Crystal Palace. I've just found it's a little quieter over there, which is weird again. Uh, where is the best place to take photos in Main Street USA? I have found most of the best photo spots are right in the middle, kind of between Main Street USA and the castle. And if I were to propose just in my life, that's where I would do it, right there in that middle area. I actually did a fake proposal to TJ there as a joke, but I have pretty much taken all those photos down ever since then because I don't want any of my Christian friends to see it and think that I'm gay because I'm not. That was just a joke that I made a number of years ago when my faith in God wasn't that strong, and it was all just fun and games. And my worldly friends are like, "Oh, this is hilarious!" And now I'm realizing how stupid it looks, and that's why it's been removed from Facebook ever since. So let's go over to Epcot. So Epcot at the moment is still being worked on. I noticed this back a few months ago. I went in the park, and it was just so weird how the whole construction is set up. So you come up to Spaceship Earth, and that's always a go-to ride for me. But I always like to end there last. Just that's just me though, and then I can go either to my right or left, or you can go to your right or left. So depending on where you want to go, if you go to your right and you follow the pathway along that way, they'll eventually take you to Soaring, the Seas of Nemo and Friends, and Journey to Imagination with Figment. I mean, I like that area. The only reason why I personally go over that area is because I like Soaring, I like Living at the Land, and I do like Journey to Imagination with Figment up to a point. The Seas of Nemo and Friends, I've rode it a few times. Not really a big fan. I mean, the only reason why I like going over there is because I like to go watch the dolphins swimming around the aquarium. I also like looking at all the fishes. I like looking at the manatees. And that's legitimately the only reason why I like that building. And that's the only reason why I ever go over there. But otherwise, I'm just like, eh. I'm just, putting that out there. And the other side is now, of course, my favorite side. So if you go to the left side of Spaceship Earth where Guest Relations is at, and you follow that pathway down, the very first attraction you're going to come across is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which I'm going to immediately hit up the next time I go over to Epcot and go do a YouTube video on that. Which of course I always like to start my vlogs at the front entrance anyhow. And then next to that is Mission Space. I like that ride as well. I just can only handle the green team because the orange team spins and I cannot handle spinning. And then after that's Test Track, which I absolutely love that ride, and I've been riding that ride for 20 years. So that's another amazing ride. And then after that, you pretty much go into World Showcase. And I personally like to start with Canada and work my way around this way. Honestly, if I speed walk it, I can do it 20 minutes. But if you were to take your time, you could take up to 3 hours, which is the average time I've seen takes a person to get around the Ark encounter. The Ark itself, that is. I can pretty much walk around all of World Showcase quickly in about, well, if I were to take my time, that is, in about an hour. Sorry. Keelan messaged me. But yeah, as far as like what do I like to do over a World Showcase, well, I would like to go ride Frozen Ever After again the next time I go, but it always has such a long wait. The Three Caballero ride over at the Mexico Pavilion, I always love riding that, but once again, it's just one of those rides that's just kind of like once you've rode it once, you've rode it a million times kind of deal. So it's just one of those rides I'm just like, eh. And then as far as like, so how do I get back and forth between Test Track and Mexico or whatever? So it's interesting how it's designed in the park. So let's just put it this way. According to the inside of the park, this is all an illusion for those of you who do not know. Here's Test Track right here, and here's Mexico. So they're about this far apart. That's just a guesstimate inside the park. It looks like they're further away than they are, but in backstage, they're this close, or about that close. Weird, right? It's called. There's a big lake in the park that separates the entrances. However, though, the buildings themselves are actually a lot closer than you think they are. They are really close. If you get on Test Track, you'll notice this for yourself. It almost looks like you're going to hit the Mexico Pavilion, but you don't. It's definitely the strangest thing. But yeah, I definitely love the Mexico Pavilion, and that's not one of those things I usually try to hit up. And my brother and I used to make jokes that I should go up to the top of the temple and go annoy the priest while he's trying to make the sacrifice. But I probably get thrown out of the park for that. My brother and I are goofy. That's all I know. So let's now move on to Disney's Hollywood Studios. For the longest time, this was my favorite park. Unfortunately, it's no longer my favorite Disney park because a lot of the reason why it was my favorite is because the whole park was based on movie making. I'm nostalgic. For those of you who do not know me, I big time base my love for parks based on nostalgia. That's the reason why Universal Studios Florida was always my absolute favorite park for quite some time because of the nostalgia. I mean, I do like that park better because there's more to do over there, but I'm starting to change my mind because of all the fact that you got the Jurassic World Velocicoaster over at Islands of Adventure, and that's such an amazing roller coaster. But you can learn more about what an average day at Universal Orlando looks like from my last vlog, which I will attach to the end of this video or vlog. And as far as like when I'm over at Hollywood Studios, I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You probably saw my Star Wars shirt that I was actually no, you probably didn't, but you probably have seen some of my Star Wars shirts that I've worn while I'm doing vlogging. And yeah, I am definitely a Star Wars fan, but you know, there's always going to be that part of me that misses the nostalgic part of Disney's Hollywood Studios. Like, I always miss going in and riding the Great Movie Ride. That was always my go-to every single time. I always loved the Art of Animation building. Now, I like Star Wars Launch Bay better just because of the fact that it is, you know, a really cool building. I like the character meet and greet idea. I like the Star Wars props. I personally think that Katie will absolutely love that park when I take her in January, but I guess we'll find out when I take her. And I'll make sure we get on Rise of the Resistance, because I know she'll like that. And I always like the Backlot Tour. I was part of Harbor Attack a number of years ago. It's going to be a really cool experience. Really glad I got a chance to do it. Just wish I had the film to prove that I did it, as well as photo evidence for that matter. I always love the Honey I Shrunk the Audience playground. I've done that quite a few times myself. I used to eat over at a studio catering company quite a few times. Not necessarily their food. I just used to pack a lot of food and bring it over there and eat it because it was an outdoor seating area, so Disney's not going to say anything. And this was back in the day when um, ABC Commissary was just a regular uh, quick service restaurant, fast food restaurant, and you could bring in outdoor food and beverages, and they didn't care. But now, as a sit down restaurant, so you can't do that anymore, as stupid as that is. So I don't know. I kind of feel like Hollywood Studios has not necessarily changed for the better. It's kind of sad. I mean, I do like the addition of Toy Story Land too. That was definitely a positive change for sure. I mean, also, yeah, Stars Galaxy's Edge, but there's always going to be that part of you that misses the nostalgic part. Would I say that Stars Galaxy's Edge is a huge improvement to Lights, Mars Action? Absolutely. I mean, I missed Lights, Mars Action. I thought it was a cool stunt show. I mean, I loved the idea of cars doing stunts, but at the same time, it's such a. Or what the problem with that show was, they always felt like they had to treat it like a documentary, and they always felt like they had to explain how each stunt was done over and over and over again. When you've seen the show enough times, it just gets boring and repetitive. It's just like, oh my word, it's just like literally every single time I have to do the counts for the live speakers at the answer center, or I have to go and do the count for our resident artist True Song. It's everything is scripted, and sometimes it gets a little annoying and frustrating and repetitive because you will hear it all over and over and over again every single day. I mean, at least it seems like that for me because 75% of the time I'm over at the Answer Center. Well, that's exactly what it felt like for me going to Walt Disney World because a lot of their shows were scripted, and I saw it so much, I just got like, okay, I get it. I've seen this enough times. And I was just, hanging around the park waiting for my dad to get done work. And I'm sure there's, the odd employee that has their family there that's stuck there all day while their dad or mom are at work. And, I get it. I definitely get it. But, it is what it is. And sure, Disney is the same exact way. And I know at least it was that way for me. Can't tell you guys how many times I hung around Animal Kingdom, which is actually the next park I'm getting to. So, Animal Kingdom. My word, how many times have I been there over the years? So, my dad worked there from 2005 to 2019 or so. And if this says anything, I went there so much over the years. I can literally take you to my favorite spot that I was sat at. There is a spot over by the restroom just before you get in the park. It's the spot that's literally facing the restroom right when you're coming out of the restroom. That's exactly where I would sit every single day. Or like every single week, really, for an hour. And I would sit there and I would wait for my dad to get done getting the Finding Nemo the musical set up or Festival of the Lion King set up. And he would meet me right out there, and he would get me in. And sometimes I would just go in the park, go ride Dinosaur or Everest really quick, and then I go to another park. Or there was a few times where I just hung around the park all day. Back when one of my brother's earlier birthdays, when we were a lot younger, I didn't know about the Disney transportation system, and we hung around the park all day. And we were bored out of our minds. Because there wasn't a lot for us to do. But I was so sure that we had to stay there all day long. But this it's just one of those things like you've gone to Disney so much as a kid that even if you were to be gone for a year, even though you're working for the Ark Encounter like that, like I am right now, and you hear them like telling everybody how horrible Disney is, you know, just hearing my stories about how often I went to Walt Disney World, and I can even tell you right now like what my morning commute was going to Walt Disney World to work. Like I'll tell you right now how I left at a certain time every single day, and especially after Wawa and Lake Wales opened, I would literally drive about 5-10 minutes, and there was a Wawa right over by the Eagle Ridge Mall, and I would pull into the right lane. I would turn into the gas station. I'd park my car, and I would go inside and I would order myself a breakfast hoagie, or I would just go inside. I'd get myself a large cup of coffee, and I would go get myself some breakfast, go pay for it, get back in my car, and I continue on. And I could always tell you, and I could literally tell you, I know exactly when I-4 is going to get backed up. I knew exactly where and when. Like, I drove on I-4 enough that, I mean, not compared to my dad, but I drove on it enough that I could always tell you exactly when it was going to back up and where it was going to back up for how long, and I knew exactly how long I needed just to get to work. As sad as that is. And I kind of learned that just even going to work with my dad, and I always had to get ready quickly because I knew that my dad needed to get to work on time, and I was very respectful about it over the years. And I would especially when he was working at Animal Kingdom, I've had plenty of opportunities to go ride Cali River Rapids going to Animal Kingdom over the years. I've only rode it a handful of times, but I will definitely tell you guys right now, with the insane amount of times I've gone to Animal Kingdom over the years, I have definitely rode Dinosaur enough times that I have the entire thing quoted, or so well not quoted, but memorized word for word. And not just because I watched it enough on YouTube. And I've been writing that one for 20 years as well. I remember the very first time I wrote it, believe it or not, and yet I still can't believe how many times I've been writing that. Or how long I've been writing. I still can't believe how many times I've wrote it. It's one of those things. And I still remember when Expedition Everest was being built, as crazy as that is, and I remember when Primeval World was first being constructed, and now it's gone. So it's almost like it never showed up in the first place. I remember when Rafiki's Planet Watch used to be called Conservation Station back in the day, and oh, cool. What an average day Universal Orlando Resort looks like is now in my recommended, which is really weird because I was just talking about it. It's almost like I knew I was going to be talking about this tonight. I also can tell you right now, I went to Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon enough while I was working for Walt Disney World because I had the free entry as a cast member, and I can literally point out to you guys where you can see Expedition Everest, where you can see the Orlando Eye, where you can see Cinderella's Castle, where you can see the sulfate mines over in Auburndale. No, I'm just playing. That's a little ridiculous. Where you can also see a little bit of Orlando. But yeah, I can literally take somebody to one of those Disney water park, or to that particular Disney water park, and show everybody. I can even tell you guys right now, if I were to take somebody to uh, Disney Springs, I've gone there so many times. I can show you guys where all my favorite spots are. I can tell you all my memories. I can show you guys like I sat at that spot this one time, and I can tell you guys so many stories. Or I can even take you. I can literally take somebody into the abyss and say, "I remember the very first time I came in here." I actually have a YouTube video to prove it. I also can tell people, I remember the very first time I came into Maria and Enzo's. Once again, I have a YouTube video to prove it. I have so many Disney Springs YouTube videos. It's sick. And I can literally take people over to the Rainforest Cafe over at Disney Springs to the Lava Lounge. Those stories I can share with you. And even though I really don't have any YouTube videos to prove it, I can literally take somebody and show you. I sat there. That is how weird my memory is. Like, I could take somebody into the Red Robin over in Champions Gate, and I could show you exactly where I sat. I've sat there. I can show literally my favorite spot. Oh, it's right when you come in. This is the one in Davenport, Florida, in Champions Gate. You come into the door, you take a right. It's not the very first table on your immediate right, it's the one after it, in the middle, between the table, or between the two tables. That is the table that TJ and I have sat at for the majority of the years we've been going there, practically since the place opened. I would say we've sat there at least 1,000 times. Easily. Easily. Do you know how much money I have wasted at that Red Robin? I'm not even going to go there. I didn't mean to raise my voice there. It's just, I still just go, can't not believe how much money I've wasted over the years. It's another reason why I moved away. I was just like, I can't keep living like this. Which is another reason why when people tell me they have a spending problem, I completely understand. Even though I'm talking to people like, yeah, it's not a good thing. It's like, you're being so judgmental. It's like, that's why I'm more understanding, because that's the whole reason why I had to move away in the first place. Because I saw what was happening to me. I was literally pulling at $20 out of the ATM every single Saturday, and I was walking down to the Perkins by Legoland, Florida, and I was wasting it all on breakfast. I would go get myself a pot of coffee and breakfast, and I come back wired up the storm. And you're probably wondering, well, what happened to the rest of the money? Well, I would spend part of it on breakfast, some of it on tip, and then the rest I would put towards the offering. And I always felt like, look, there's my good deed for the week. I didn't even really stop and think about whether I was, necessarily honoring God by tithing or not at the time. And I was giving a lot more back then, but my heart wasn't in the right place. Yes, I am tithing a whole lot less now, but my heart's in the right place. Now I'm giving because I want to, not because I feel like I have to. Because that's what I was doing back in Florida. And I was giving these huge amounts, and I'm like, oh, look how good I am. So I definitely would say my heart has definitely come a long ways. Like, yeah, I was spending a lot of time at Walt Disney World. Like, I mean, I was also spending a lot of time at Universal too. But, like, I don't know. Just talking about Disney just brings back a lot of memories. And just kind of helps me remember, like, what my life was like. I remember the days when I was going to Walt Disney World, and I would spend the entire day there with TJ and Kay, and then we would go over to CC's afterwards, and I'd go pig out on pizza and pasta. Can't tell you guys how many times I've done that one either. And then I go home afterwards, and that's another reason why I tend to ignore people who are like judgmental towards people that spend a lot of money, but at least they're aware of it. And if they tell me that they're trying to change their ways, then I believe them. I mean, yeah, I get a little nervous when they tell me that they're, not great with their money, but there's nothing wrong being a little nervous about it. I mean, personally, as long as you're aware of it and you're trying to make a change, then I'm not going to, sit there and judge you or bash you down for it. But that's just me. I mean, the one thing I will do for you is I'm going to pray for you, and, I'm going to keep praying that God will help me as well, because I can't exactly say I'm, perfect either. I mean, moving away did help immensely, but I also know it's a sin problem of mine, and moving away isn't going to completely demolish the fact that I have a spending problem. It's not going to completely demolish the fact that I still want to drink from time to time, and I mean alcohol. So, yeah, I mean, I was even admitting today to a couple that were asking about alcohol that I still like to drink. And, it kind of bothers me. I work for AIG, and I should be like completely against it, but there's always that part of me that still wants it. And even though Katie does not like alcohol, I respect her enough that I won't talk about it in front of her. And it's not just her I respect. There's quite a few people that I know that don't drink whatsoever. And I'm like, okay, well, I just won't talk about it in front of them. Like, there was a time not too long ago when I was bowling at the Florence Bowling Alley, and I did break down. I had an alcoholic drink, but nobody really cared. But I still felt bad about it, because I'm like, I really shouldn't even be doing this. I mean, I was doing it in front of one of my coworkers. I mean, she wasn't my coworker at the time, but now that I think about it, I'm like, wow, I cannot believe that I had a beer right in front of one of my coworkers. Like, what a bad example I am. And it just makes me sad, because it just goes to show that my heart was still not in the right place at the time. And I mean, hopefully, Lord willing, I'm a lot better about it now, but I still feel like that worldly part of me, that sinful part of me, wants to move back to Florida and go back to wasting money like there's no tomorrow, and eating out every single week, and not having any bills or responsibilities, and coming home and having a shot or two to end the day. And as I told Brian Brown, that is, I think the reason why I was like that, the reason why I like to go to Walt Disney World and go somewhere where I didn't have any problems, and then come back, and or go out to eat and then come back and have a couple of shots, is because I like to life without any problems. And I think the reason why God allowed me to have it so easy, but the reason why God did not allow me to have any spiritual growth in Florida, is because God was like, you want the easy life? Then fine, have the easy life. I'm not going to allow you to have any spiritual growth, though. And as soon as I moved up here to Kentucky, I start having spiritual growth, but then I start having challenges. I start having problems. And the devil keeps holding the door open for me to move back to Florida. You can go have it all over again. All you have to do is move back. But guess what? You're not going to grow anymore in God's Word. And every time I see people that are struggling with money, I keep seeing my old self in them. And seeing that person that didn't want to change. But I also see a part of my current self in them too. That's another reason why my heart goes out to these people, because yes, I see my old self in them that was enjoying that lifestyle, but I also see my current self that wants to make a change. Because I'll tell you right now, the difference between my old self and my old self didn't want change. My current self wants to change. My old self had the problem but didn't want to change. And that's why I do see my old self in some of these people I know. But the fact that I said that I see my current self in these same people means that all their help is not gone either. So all I can do is pray for these people, just like I just need prayer myself. I mean, yeah, of course I'm going to keep going back to Walt Disney World every time I go. I mean, come on, I've already been 3 years in a row. I'm going back in September. I still enjoy going there, and I seriously doubt that there's going to be any more Disney restaurants to eat at anytime soon, just because there's really no reason for me to do it unless I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. But at least on the bright side, in the future, I won't have to worry about paying for TJ anymore because of the fact that the friendship was done, and I don't have his adopted mother anymore to defend him. So that's kind of nice. And even nicer, do I feel like God's upset with me about it? Not at all. In fact, I still feel just as peaceful about it now as I did a couple of months ago or a month ago, which means that she was delusional about the whole thing or whatever. I mean, it's hard to say. But this vlog is getting very long. It is already almost midnight. I have to be up by 6:30 in the morning, so not only did you guys get to hear what an average day at Disney World looks like for me, but you guys got to hear how I can literally take you guys to some of my favorite spots, and I can tell you guys some of my favorite memories. I also proved to you guys I've been to some of these places so many times. I can literally show you guys exactly where I sit, and also you guys got to hear a little bit more about how going to Walt Disney World over the years has had a huge impact on me, and how it takes me, TJ and Kay and Venita back, a long time, because those are the people I used to hang out with a long time before I moved up to Kentucky and before my life changed for the better. I mean, that doesn't mean that I don't like to hang around those people anymore. It just means that they're just not going to be my primary ones anymore. But that doesn't mean I don't ever want to stop staying in touch with them or whatever, if you know what I mean. But I think I'm going to get more into that into another YouTube video. I think another YouTube video I'd like to do sometime is, what was I like living in Central Florida versus what I'm like now? And I think that will be a really interesting YouTube video to talk about, because it will explain more in depth about what I was like living in Florida, all the different things that I used to do, and how often I was out of the house wasting money and avoiding my parents for the sake of it or the heck of it or whatever, versus now how if I'm not home, it's because I'm always at work. And I can tell you guys right now, when I was living in Florida, I wasn't at work all that much. Versus now, I'm always at work. Almost, and everybody would say, "Oh yeah, David's always here." Versus, like, I can't even tell you guys the last time I went to Red Robin. It's sad. It's so sad. But I'll get into that and do another YouTube video. So I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.